All right, y'all. Question number 1. What are your top 3 favorite anomalies?
Anomalies. So this is
an interesting
something.
one.
This is a very interesting one. When we did our pre-podcast production meeting yesterday, we came across this one, and it's just basically things that. And the definition of anomaly is something that stands out, something that strays from the pack,
An exception from the standard,
rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we were trying to think of 3 that like kind of make people be like, "Oh yeah, oh my god, that's true," or just very interesting ones that they're funny, they're interesting. So, all right, you go first. What's your first anomaly that you thought of?
All right. I don't know which way to take this because there's a couple of ways, but I'll start with just a straightforward one. February, the month of February. So every single day in the calendar has 30 or 31 days, and then February for some reason, like, is significantly shorter than the others.
Yeah.
What's the point of that?
It's something to do with leap year.
Well, it's also the one that's affected by a leap year. Like, why not make two of the 31-day months 30 days? What's the point? I've never understood that.
Who makes these decisions? Like,
and it also makes
I think the Romans.
It also makes the month song terrible because, like, it would be so much cleaner if it was like 30 days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31.
Yeah.
Except for February.
24 hours in a day makes absolute perfect sense. The sun rises, the sun sets, it makes perfect sense. But there could be 8 days in a week. There could be 35 days a month.
You know what I mean? Instead of 4 seasons, why not have every month?
Well, the years make sense because actually every year at the same time, it's like the same weather.
Years make sense, but months.
Right.
Why? I mean, but that's not
break down those 365 days to an even number.
Right. But why? I just don't get why February has to have 28 days. It has never made sense to me. It's also like the worst month. So that stands out to me regardless. But what's going on, February? Explain yourself. That's an anomaly. That's number 1.
Fuck you, February.
Yeah.
All right. My first one is ChickfilA, open every day of the week except Sunday. And that's always fascinated me, and always
religious reasons.
Yeah, religious reasons. Okay. Like Sunday people go to church and they don't eat after.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't understand why they take off Sunday. Now, who am I to tell Chick-fil-A how to do their business model? They're one of the fastest growing businesses in the country, and every time I go to the local one or drive past it, there's cars out the lot.
Crazy.
Always. It's an incredibly successful business. Not being open on Sunday, just as a business person myself, drives me crazy. Like, imagine they could increase their revenue by 1/7 with a snap of a finger.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Maybe
it's an anomaly.
Maybe it's like a good idea. Like, it's something different. Like, people talk about this.
Yeah.
And like, I know for me personally, I feel like I only ever crave Chick-fil-A on a Sunday.
So you think they're using the principle of taking something away so that it makes you want it more?
I don't know that they're using it that way, but that's kind of how it has affected me. Like, I think that they're truly trying to give their employees off Sunday. They don't want their people to work on the Sabbath or the holy day or whatever.
Yeah, Sunday is the day of rest, so they're going by that principle.
Well, guess what? Like, work Sunday, have off Tuesday. You know, like half your staff can get off on Sunday.
Obviously, with a scheduling, they could make that work. It's a huge anomaly. It makes no sense. No other businesses that are that big and that massive and serve that much of the market and take up that much real estate are closed one day of the week. It makes no sense. It's a huge anomaly.
Barbershops. On that note, dry cleaners are closed on Sunday, right? Or I think they're usually closed Sundays, and like barbershops are closed on Mondays.
Is that true?
Yeah, I know for a fact that dry cleaners are closed on Sundays, which to me is the dumbest thing in the world. It's one of 2 days that most people who need to get their stuff dry clean can actually do it.
Don't you? I think all different dry cleaners have different hours across the country.
But that's like the standard. You know, like the standard is for barbershops to be closed on Mondays.
I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, maybe it's
maybe it's just your local one. Yeah, I don't know. But that's my number 1, Chick-fil-A. I think it's a great one.
Real quick on that, and I'm obviously not the first person to point this out, but where the Falcons play, Mercedes, wherever the Falcons play, they have a Chick-fil-A.
Atlanta.
Yeah, in Atlanta, whatever the stadium's called, they have a Chick-fil-A there.
Yeah, so
it's like only ever open on Sundays. So like, what's going on there?
I mean, I'm assuming that it's open on game day.
No, it's not. I think it's for like the occasional like college game because they like host, but that's what, a couple of times a year. Just doesn't make sense.
That's hilarious that it's closed.
And
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't love that. All right, what's your next one?
Oh, cool. All right, so I'm gonna go with. I have a few here. This is a personal thing for sure. But I'm going to go with the Eagles Super Bowl year. Is just a complete anomaly because at that point, if you would ask me in February of 2018, I would have told you like it's the beginning of a dynasty. Like our backup quarterback won when Carson Wentz comes back. He's going to run the table. Eagles are going to win 4 out of the next 6 Super Bowls. And it was just, they've done nothing but go downhill from there. And they've always been middle of the pack, kind of not a joke franchise. I think the Eagles are always a top tier franchise, but they're never really contenders.
I can't believe they won the Super Bowl that year.
It was a blip. And I used to get so pissed when people would say it was a fluke. And it's so clear now that it was a fluke. It was an anomaly. Like the Eagles are just a shitty.
You thought it was an anomaly when it happened.
There's no way it was. Because they went with their backup quarterback. Like, are you kidding me? When Wentz comes back, they're going to run the table. Now Wentz is maybe the worst quarterback in the league. He turns the ball over more than anybody. It's brutal. But I thought for sure that was the new standard. I think they said the new normal was their like slogan, and they have 3 wins.
And it goes to what you're talking about in sports previously with the parity. Hey, I mean,
you got to get
if it was a 7-game series, they wouldn't have won.
Right, and it goes into something I love about sports is like team of destiny. Like I think that exists. The team of destiny has to exist. What's that?
I don't agree with that. A team of destiny. So whoever wins is the team of destiny?
No, but like if the Eagles win, I mean they were underdogs for every playoff game. They shouldn't have beat Atlanta. They played Atlanta in the divisional round, and Nick Foles. It was a really low scoring game. Nick Foles, like sometime in the third quarter, throws a clear pick. It was one of the worst passes I've ever seen. And the defensive back like jumps to intercept it. It hits his knee, bounces right into the hands of Torrey Smith. Eagles get 3 points out of the drive, and then they squeak out a win there. They go on and kill the Vikings, and then they beat Tom Brady. If you would have heard before that game that the Pats would punt once, or maybe they didn't punt at all, Brady would throw for like 550 yards. There's no chance. So team of destiny for sure. It's an anomaly though.
It was absolute anomaly. That's a good one.
Look at them now. They're the laughing stock of the NFL.
In first place.
Top 10 draft.
No, they're not in first place.
They're not. They're up there. No. Yeah. That's a good one. That is a super weird Super Bowl winner. All right. So my next one, I don't know. There's not much to say about it, but there's not 9 planets in the solar system, and only one has life on it.
That we know of. Yeah, it's a good one.
Like, what the fuck? Why?
It says because we are like the right distance from the sun for life.
Yeah, but wouldn't that mean like
for human life at least?
We're third from the sun. So why wouldn't the second and fourth have like a little life? And we know about the ones closest to us. We know Jupiter has no life. We know Saturn.
Didn't they find some sort of like sign of microscopic?
Okay, maybe they found a little microcosmic like piece of, but they don't have countries and 8 billion people that are 6 feet tall.
What if those microscopic beings are just like incredibly advanced beings, are just way smaller than us? Like, that would be weird because we're humans.
Then I'm not scared of them.
Yeah, you shouldn't be.
It's like they come to attack us and they're like, whee! And they're like this big, and we're just like hit them with a fly swatter.
Or they're like the coronavirus. It's an alien.
Okay, but
that's a good one. Though.
We are clearly an anomaly out of the planets as far as life.
Also, Pluto is an anomaly because it's the only planet that like nobody can agree on if it's a planet or not. They keep going back and forth with Pluto. Like, figure it out. Either make it a planet or make it whatever.
Neil deGrasse Tyson says not a planet. I'm with him.
He did? Okay.
Yeah.
That's disappointing.
There's not much more to say about that. So that's my second one. What's your next one?
All right, my next one would be I'll say Justin Timberlake is the anomaly of members of NSYNC who try to make it on their own and with little to no success. I would also say like Beyonce, again, making it out of a group like that.
Destiny's Child.
Yeah, like I believe that like Lance Bass.
None of the Backstreet Boys made it. None of the Backstreet Boys made it on their own.
But NSYNC, they tried at least. Like I remember Lance Bass tried, JC Chazez tried. well, who's the other guy? Who's the
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I forget his name, but he was in My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Anyway, they all tried to have a
They
career
tried.
outside
They
of,
absolutely tried.
and they just
Yeah, and Justin Timberlake's
He's a
a
superstar.
huge star.
like the most famous guy in the world.
Saturday Night Live, late night talk shows, successful single albums, hits,
Dick in the box.
features. Yeah. That's a good one. That's a huge anomaly, especially because they all tried,
Right.
and they were all successful as a group. Yeah,
Yep.
that's a massive anomaly. All right, my next one is I looked this up on the DEA website. Here's a list of the Schedule 1 drugs: heroin, ecstasy, meth, marijuana, and peyote.
Meth.
Which one's
Not that
the
bad.
anomaly? Which one's the
Yeah.
anomaly? The one that like literally everyone does all the time and has been legalized in like a lot of states. And we did like every night in college and is very commonly used as part of culture and
Natural.
society, or the ones that kill you if you get like addicted to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a huge anomaly, and it's still Schedule 1, and then cocaine is in Schedule 2.
Really?
Yeah, cocaine, Vicodin, and OxyContin are Schedule 2.
We just missed that window. I know, like before we were born in like the 80s, it was like everyone was doing it all the time. Like
Cocaine?
athletes, it was just like part of a training regimen. You know what I mean? And then they figured it out. Wow. Yeah. That's another good one, I think.
That's a huge anomaly.
Huge.
But the thing that's interesting about marijuana, I think, is it's such a weird drug. It just affects everyone differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's
For sure.
tolerance. There's a tolerance element, but there's a tolerance element with everything. And it just
People
affects
also-
some people freak the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
Some people
And
are just
people
normal.
refuse to admit that they're wrong about it. That's the only reason it's a
What do you
Schedule 1
mean?
drug now. Like logically, there's absolutely no argument that should be on the list with heroin and meth and all these other drugs. The only reason it could possibly be on there is because people are being stubborn and saying, well, no, it's a gateway. You know what I mean? It's just a bunch of baloney.
Okay, if it's a gateway drug, it should be lower. Like
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like
gateway on the way up.
Right.
Yeah.
And number 1 should be like reserved for the ones that like you've made it.
99% of people who do heroin more than 3 times die. And I made that
Yeah.
up, but that seems about right.
Right.
Like heroin, meth, marijuana.
Peyote's interesting too.
Yeah, well, like is that even like real? That's like the
It's like
Native
ayahuasca
Americans
kinda.
used to,
You know,
used
it's
to
like
send people out on a mission when you're
Right.
15. Yeah, like
Rite of
Mexicans have the
passage.
quinceañera, and Jewish people have bar mitzvahs, and the Native Americans have like a peyote session in the woods by yourself.
Mhm.
It's probably the least fun of them.
Yeah. I mean, all
That's a
good
good
ones.
one,
Do you want to run through your honorable
Yeah.
mentions? Okay.
Yeah. All right. So my honorable mentions are runts. The bananas and the candy are by far the worst one. Like the other ones are delicious, and the bananas are just like ugh.
Yep.
And then
Agreed.
actually, this other one, I thought about it, and I thought it was going to be a good one, but I looked it up, and it actually wasn't as good as I thought. College football conferences, you know, how they realigned, and there's
Mhm.
like certain schools that are in conferences that make no sense.
Yeah. They're
I
not
couldn't really,
close
like,
to each other.
Yes, Syracuse is in the ACC. That's a little bit of a stretch. But when I looked at the map of all the conferences, they actually all were like in the same box. For the Big 12, that's like southwest, like
Central, yeah.
West Virginia's in the Big 12, and that's like kind of the furthest one out there on a map. But
Right.
I thought that was going to be a great one, but there isn't that many good ones. There isn't that many that I thought were that big. And the last one's more of a trivia question and an anomaly, but there's 123 professional sports teams, and there's only 9 that don't end in an S
Mhm.
that are the anomalies. Got any
The
guesses?
Heat, the Thunder. I mean, I can probably the Heat and
Yeah.
Thunder, the Wild.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while, but I can.
The Avalanche, the White Sox, the Red Sox, the Magic, the Lightning, and the Jazz.
There you go.
They're the only professional sports teams without an S at the end. Out of
Mhm.
123, there's only 9. That's an anomaly. That was my runner-up
Pretty
because it wasn't that good. But so yeah, those were mine. I thought about this a lot, and
It's hard.
It's kind of hard. It's hard.
Hard to think of. Yeah, I had steak fries because of all the forms of French fries. I'm lining up to get any kind of French fry, but I will avoid steak fries at all costs. I think they're trash.
What are steak fries?
Like the real
Aren't they just thick cut?
Yeah, they're terrible.
Yeah.
There's no
They're
point
kind of
in
like
them.
potato wedges.
Yeah, but not like they want to be potato wedges. They want to be French fries. They can't figure it out. It's the one. It's an anomaly on the list of French fries because I love all other French fries: curly, crinkle cut, shoestring. You name it, I love it. Hate steak fries.
Okay.
So I'll put that there. I also said Hawaii is an anomaly because it's the
yeah.
the only like what like How did that even happen?
It's a state that has no American history.
It's
It's
an
not
island, the
even
only state that's
close
just an
to
island.
America.
Right.
And like they have their own
Everything.
culture, and they're Polynesian.
Right.
So that's a good one. That's a good one.
Also, Australia, like when you look at continents, like I know Antarctica, but there's not really like civilization there.
They're
really.
their own country.
What?
Australia.
That's what but they're also a continent.
That's why it's an anomaly. Yeah, that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. They're their own continent and country.
Yep. And then
that's a good one.
The last one, the fifth dentist that was asked in if they recommend Trident, because they always said 4 out of 5 dentists recommend you chew Trident, and the fifth guy was always like the hardo that had to buck the trend.
I used to love those commercials. I think it was like Trident or some gum. They're like 4 out of 5 dentists recommend, and then they showed the fifth dentist would get like distracted and like fall off his chair.
Yeah, exactly. He'd have a fly on his forehead and they'd slap him with it and he'd get knocked out. But yeah, that fifth dentist was always the anomaly.
Damn. Yeah. All right. Those are good ones. Those are hard to think of. Yeah. Anomalies. Have you ever heard a better podcast in your entire life? Take that, Joe Rogan. Best podcast you've ever heard. Get more podcasts right here and subscribe to the show too while you're at it. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you. Honestly, I love you.